9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on terrestrial radio. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. If you download it, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live on facebook.com/Sudbury News everywhere in the world other than Canada and Sudbury, due to government policies making or prohibiting news from being shared on the world's largest social media platform. You can enjoy it if you're on vacation in Arizona or Florida, but nowhere in Canada can you see that stream. But we're also streaming live at youtube.com/Sudbury News right here in Greater Sudbury and around Canada and the world. We'll also be found on demand on those platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator immediately following the show. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channels, the pages, mainly comment on our YouTube feed because that's where the comments are coming in. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching. We have a special guest coming in today, waiting in the green room. Had a great discussion with him last night. Frank Krupe from Recycle. Okay, I got to get this right because name of the company is Road Surface Recycling, and they did a contract here in Sudbury, which many of you are aware. We talked about it many times on the show, that they did a section of the Kingsway, and there was some controversy about it. We're going to talk all about that today from the horse's mouth, so we don't have to speculate what's going on. And so we're going to have an amazing discussion with him. We'll just dive in with a little bit of weather first. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll be back with Frank right after this. Well, it doesn't look... There you go. Okay. Okay, and Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it is negative 15 out there. Feels like negative 19. It's mainly cloudy, 60% chance of snow, wind moderate, high of -7, wind chill at -20 this morning, -14 in the afternoon. Periods of snow amount 2 centimeters-ish. And tonight, low of -10 looks like, and then -17 is your wind chill. Tomorrow, cloudy, 60% chance of flurries in the afternoon. Wind will be gusting up to 50 kilometers in the morning. High of +1. Wind chill -15 in the morning, -8 in the afternoon. And then more flurries, like we need it, overnight. And high of -10. Saturday, -9, 60% chance of flurries. Sunday and Monday, we're forecasting sun. We'll believe it when we see it. And -12, -7, respectively. Tuesday, -2, 30% chance of flurries. -1, 40% chance of flurries on Wednesday. That's your Sudbury weather. Brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with Frank Krupe, and we'll have a great discussion right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show, I promise, or your money back. Okay, and it looks like I'm just having technical difficulties on my switcher, which I've never had before. I've never had this technical difficulty, and just a few... Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, we'll see what's going on here in a second. Yeah, this is an interesting time, so we'll see what happens. We'll get this, we'll get that, we'll get there, we'll get here, and we're going to have a discussion regardless because here we go. We have Frank who's in the waiting room. And good morning, Frank. How you doing? Okay. I unmuted you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, you're cutting in and out sometimes, so I can't hear you.
Yes. What we find is Frank, when we do specific shows about the city, we end up having glitches and anomalies happen with things, especially when, and I know you know Tom Price, correct?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So when Tom is on the show, it just seems like there's glitches and things, and we get all kinds of extra viewers and stuff that are. It just seems like, I don't know, that there's somebody hacking into our system kind of thing and just creating all kinds of things. But we're going to get through this regardless, because that's what we do. We just continue and move forward and don't let any of that affect us. And I'll get the live viewers up here. So
okay.
I just want to kind of introduce the situation through a summarization of a story by Tyler Clark from Sudbury.com. And this was a kind of it was after he's already written a few stories, but this is one of the latest ones. And the headline basically is that the city of Greater Sudbury is filing a countersuit of $4.5 million against Road Surface Recycling, which is your company, alleging a breach of contract and negligence related to a hot-in-place asphalt recycling pilot project, which that's what you are pioneering, is this hot-in-place recycling of road resurfacing. And it was on the Kingsway, July 2023. It says the Ajax contractor is separately suing the city for $1 million and is seeking permission to return to complete the project after being removed from the site. So these are interesting words, right? So the city is countersuing you, but you're also separately suing the city instead of saying you originally filed the suit. And that's what you originally filed the suit. And a countersuit or a counterclaim means it's after, but he's making it seem as if this was first. And oh, by the way, you also have a $1 million suit against the city. So saying the city side, the city argues that your company failed to meet contract specifications. You started work nearly 2 years too late. And I know you're going to want to speak to all of these things, and we're just going to try and get through all of this. And then we're going to basically have a discussion for the better part of like 45 minutes. So you also produced asphalt that was improperly heated and could not bond correctly. After our conversation last night, I'm laughing as I'm reading this, and I apologize, resulting in severely damaged pavement that now must be fully removed and replaced. A third-party engineering company reviewed it, that WSP out of Montreal, found numerous deficiencies and concluded the work would only last a few years. The city maintains the pilot project did not allow for experimental or substandard work and says testing was conducted properly and objectively. So, and Tyler Clark saying this is basically what you said in rebuttal to that. Road Surface Recycling disputes those findings, claiming the project was experimental and required flexibility, that testing was extensive and flawed, excessive. Testing was excessive and flawed, and that the city acted unfairly and showed bias. The city rejects those claims, noting 2 Auditor General investigations found no evidence supporting your allegations, the contractor's allegations of misconduct. And its counterclaim, the city and its the city says any reputational harm suffered by the company was self-inflicted, and that the breakdown in the relationship combined with alleged unprofessional contact makes it impossible for the contractor to return to the project. And I know this was painful for you to hear, possibly, but you're used to it, and you're very aware of it. You're living it. And so I just want to introduce you now to the greater city of Sudbury. You're live on the air, and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then I want to really just get into this situation and really unpack this whole thing. People are eager to know.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning to the listeners. Good morning, Aaron, and thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Myself, I've been in the paving industry over 45 years, so since I was 7 years old. And I learned the paving industry from the ground up. I can run every piece of equipment. I can run asphalt plants. I'm familiar with the entire process, from mining to finished product on the road, to completing a project and getting it paid for. So my experience in paving is extensive. My experience in hot in place recycling runs 40 years as well, because I took it upon myself in my early 20s to see if asphalt could be recycled 100%. And I've endured a lot of criticism through the years. A lot of people will think I'm a little bit nuts, and some people call me a mad scientist. But the reality of it is it's achievable. I think by winning the Recycling Project of the Year award for 2025 through Durham Region's project of hot in place recycling, their attitude towards our process on their roads was, yes, it's pilot. And when they saw the results, and the results were pretty consistent, and when we had a problem on one section of road, it was a short problem, we fixed it. We didn't question why it happened or what caused it to happen. We just went and redid it. And they were surprised that there was no battle to get it redone. It just happened naturally for us, because it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. So that's what we do. And we back our product 100%. The idea of recycling asphalt roads the way we do it, it can be done very comfortably and very well, but everybody has to realize that we're working with the materials that are already there. We're not bringing in new materials. We don't get to start from scratch and design and engineer something from scratch. We start with the raw product that's been already performing for the last 20 or 25 years. And our goal is to make it perform another 20 or 25 years. That's how simple it is. It's not complicated. It doesn't meet brand new material standards, because we don't have control of the raw product that city provides them. And that's why, in that particular case, Sudbury's project was also a pilot project. That was the key word that you mentioned in your introduction, a pilot project. And
So
in a pilot project,
yes.
you don't criticize. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's the difference between a pilot project and you got the tender for the contract itself. Like there's two different things, and that's why it's deemed pilot project. That's what makes it a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about the machine itself and how it operates. Like how are the mechanics of all that? How does it work?
Okay, well, asphalt is produced at 160 degrees Celsius. It is repliable. In other words, you can heat it back up to 160 degrees Celsius, but you don't have to get that high the second time around. We heat it to about 120 degrees Celsius, and at that point, it is removable from the surface. So the way the operation works is there's a series of machines that work in tandem. The first ones are called preheaters. Their job is strictly to heat the surface of the road and force the heat to go downwards into the pavement. And we all know heat rises. I mean, when you're in your house and you turn your house heater on, the hottest air is not on the ground; it's up in the air because it rises. So we're trying to force it to do this, to do something that's unnatural, and that is to go downwards and penetrate into the layers, into the asphalt. And we're trying to heat it down 50 millimeters deep for processing, but we also have to get about another 10 millimeters deeper than that, so that we can create a surface that is bondable. Because at a warm temperature, the material we put down on top of it bonds 100% to the material underneath. Without that, it'll slip off. And I'm sure everybody's driven down roads where they see the road has slid, like it looks like a chevron, and it's opened up and the top layer is got a 2-inch or 50 millimeter bump in it. So what we do is we heat and heat and heat to get that penetration. Remember, asphalt's an insulator, so it doesn't want to be reheated. And when it's heated in an asphalt plant, it's in a granular form. So you heat the aggregate as it falls through a veil of flame. Well, you can't expose it to flame. You burn it. It's a petroleum product. So there's a lot of details that we have to cover and make sure that we do them right. Once you heat it, then there's the processing unit, the recycling unit, and it comes along and it has rotors on it with carbide tip teeth, and it spins at a speed that it goes through the heated surface with little resistance. So how do I explain this part? A conventional milling operation that cold mills the surface off has about 100 horsepower, 300 horsepower per meter of milling width. We run at about 120 horsepower per meter milling width. So it's significantly less. So the idea is by heating it, you make it like warm butter so it cuts easily. Traditionally, it's frozen butter. That's the best description I can give you. So once we do that, we remove the surface. The aggregate, because it's warm and not cold, comes out undamaged. It doesn't chip it. It doesn't break it. So we maintain the gradations of the existing material. And then, this is, we plane the surface off, collect it in a windrow, run it into a mixer. We add rejuvenator oils to it, blend that all together, put it back on the road as a windrow, and a paver picks it up and lays it back down. Now, the magic of this process is the rejuvenation. So when I look at a road, I look at three things in the road. I look at the type of aggregate, how much sand, how much stone, and the third thing is how much liquid asphalt cement is in it, and what's the condition of the liquid asphalt cement. And what is liquid asphalt cement? Liquid asphalt cement is a petroleum product. It is the last product that comes out of a refinery that they can't crack down any further and get anything else out of it. So it is what we call the binder. A lot of people refer to it as the tar. It's not tar, because tar is made from coal, and it's coal tar. It's liquid asphalt cement, it's called. The liquid asphalt cement is a certain grade when they lay it of softness. It's a glue, so it glues all the sand and the stone together. The only thing that goes wrong with the road over its lifespan, the only thing that goes wrong with it is the glue starts to oxidize and harden. And as it hardens, it has less sticks and the stone together and maintain the integrity of the road. So then you start seeing the road wear off. You start seeing the stones exposed because it can't hold the sand in. You start seeing potholes in various areas because the surface is worn down to the next layer down. Or you see extensive cracking, which you see a lot of that in Sudbury because they use a lot of crack filler. And the cracks then start forming, and the aggregate starts chipping as the cracks get wider. The stones start chipping off because the glue is too brittle to hold it together. So that's a basic lesson in asphalt. So what does RSR do? RSR has formulated a product that we add to the liquid asphalt that's 100% compatible to the liquid asphalt cement. And what we do is we reinstate the condition of the glue, the asphalt cement, and we remix it with the stone and the sand. And guess what happens? The asphalt cement then becomes pliable, it becomes adhesive again, and it holds the product together in the same condition it held it together from day one when it was placed 25 years ago. So that in a nutshell is what we do. Now, how we do it? It took 25 years to come up with this formulation. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. It took us a long time to develop it, but we got to it, and that's how it works.
And give us a little bit about your background. Like, how many years do you have in this industry?
Well, without giving away my age, because I'm only 55, I've been in the industry for about 50 plus years. So I've experienced everything. The original company that we all worked with was called D. Kruppe and Sons. My father started it in the 50s, where there was three brothers. The oldest one still runs the original family business. And myself and my brother Mike, we are off doing all kinds of things. We are determined to get rid of the stockpiles of asphalt over the next 10 years. That we should be able to recycle asphalts 100%. They are recyclable 100%, but people have to believe it. And the industry itself doesn't want to do it. They talk about it, but they don't want to make the changes that are necessary to do it.
It's true. And we talked about this last night about, it is a huge industry and there's a lot of people making a lot of money off the things that you would definitely minimize that. And so a lot of people would be affected if this was taken on as one of the main ways to surface our roads going forward. And so you're facing this type of opposition every day, which you would think is counterintuitive because our governments that are the ones that municipal governments by and large are the ones that are making contracts for these roads and then, provincial for the highways and things like that. But you would think because they're worried about climate change and the environment so much that they'd be all over this. You'd be their poster child for this, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Doesn't seem to be the case.
No. Well, I'll say this, and I don't think people really think about this. The biggest single asset owned by government, the biggest single asset, more than buildings, is the infrastructure. It's the road network. And if you would put together the paved roads in the infrastructure, the sewage system and water system, those represent 90% of the assets the governments own.
Wow.
Think about that. Like, it's stuff you don't see, you don't think about, but it is the biggest single expense that government maintains.
Wow. I never would have looked at it like that, but you are right. If you think of all of the money, all of the time that goes into producing, maintaining, and just roads alone, and then the infrastructure that goes along with the roads, it's pretty incredible. It's I never would have thought of that. I never would have thought of it as an asset either.
Well, it's the biggest asset they have. And who owns it? The taxpayers. Who pays to maintain it? The taxpayers. So you would think that the bureaucracy and government political level would welcome anything that can extend their money to produce more maintenance procedures. In other words, if this is about 30% of the cost of conventional paving in Sudbury. And if we were to do $1 million worth of recycling for the city of Sudbury, they would have $2 million more to do another $2 million worth of work doing it with our method compared to doing it with the traditional methods they use there right now. So instead of paving 10 kilometers of road, they would be able to pave 30 kilometers of road with hot in place recycling, compared to 10 kilometers with conventional paving. So there's a significant savings, a huge environmental impact because it's 74% cleaner than conventional paving. It is a one and done process. In other words, in Sudbury, how long does it take them to pave a road from when they first put the signs up till they take the signs down? It takes them 2 months or 3 months. We move in and we do a road. We pave one lane one day, it's finished. We pave the next lane the next day, it's finished. We take the signs, we paint it, we take the signs down 3 days later, and it's open to traffic. We're a one and done. We don't run this for 2 months, closing a road down. And that's the difference. Everybody says, oh, you take too long, your machines are too big, they cover too much of the road. My God, think about it. Every time we finish a day's worth of work, we come in, we start in the morning, we're done at the end of the day. That section is done. It's not another month of work to get it before it's a finished surface. That's what everybody doesn't understand. We go through intersections. The intersection isn't closed for an hour and a half. It's closed for 20 minutes, if that. So that's the process itself is very efficient, and it's not fast. It's like the turtle and the rabbit. We're the turtle. The rabbit has to go over what we do over the same road section. They have to go over it 3 times. We go over it once. So who's going to finish first?
Exactly. And here's the thing, this is music to taxpayers' ears, because you're going to do it more efficiently. You're going to do it right the first time. You don't have this, there's that joke about city workers or whatever, right? You got the one guy doing the work and you got 16 people standing around watching him do the work. And that's what that's what the view is of citizens when they think of that. And another thing is traffic management with construction has always been a pet peeve of mine. And it's just never thought of. I don't think it's put, like, the flow of a city is the economy of the city. And so there's so much that goes along with that. I owned a delivery business for several years, a rush delivery service. And I was like, you don't realize, like, this is so important. And again, just the traffic lights alone, don't get me started on the way those are all programmed, because it's like, wow. I guess the gas companies are conspiring with them and the mechanics and all that, because there's a lot of brake work and more gas to go stop, start all the time. And I guess
that's correct.
Yeah. They look at it probably as traffic management or whatever, so people aren't speeding. But at the same time, it's just anyways. So the world isn't always doing the things that make the most sense. We know that it isn't always doing, it's an industry. It's been functioning the way it is. You're a game changer. You're a disruptor. You're in there, with all the right things, but there's a lot of people that could stand to lose if people choose your way of doing it. Like, it's an industry. And, but at the same time, we can't turn a blind eye to facts and to what's actually going on. So let's go back to now this contract that you got for the city, pilot project. Yeah. Who brought you into the city, and how did that happen? And then how did everything unfold?
Well, it all started in 2020. We were doing the Ontario Good Roads show. I think it was the Ontario Good Roads. It could have been one of the other technical shows that we participated in. And we met 3 city councilors there. And the city councilors got all excited because of the Sudbury roads were in such bad condition. If this thing could save them money and they could do more and recycle, it had all the right things. So next thing we know, the city councilors bring the mayor over, and then, okay, we want you to come up and do a presentation, which we did, and everybody was excited about it. It was a previous mayor, and he was gung-ho on it. And also these 3 councilors, 2 of them have passed away since, and one is repeatedly in trouble because he came to our town hall meeting and defended the bureaucracy. Instead, he was viewed as criticizing them, which he never did. And that's on record for me. He said absolutely nothing in the meeting other than he corrected me about some of the employees there and the situation. And I felt terrible that he got in trouble for that, which was just, I believe, just a bunch of crazies up there going after him, particularly the CAO, who wanted to make sure that this process never got off the ground, who, by the way, is no longer there, along with the people that caused all the problems for us, particularly the one who wrote us up with all the deficiencies is no longer working for the city. And that person had absolutely no experience and very little experience in asphalt, and was telling us how to do the job.
Yeah, so let's walk
So,
through that again. So these counselors come down, you do the presentation, the mayor is all
yes,
about it. These three counselors, which all of our viewers know exactly who they are because we know who the two that passed away. And the other
yeah,
one we know because he's in hot water all the time. He's running for mayor at the moment. And so people can just surmise who those individuals are. And so everyone's gung ho about it. They say, yeah, come on in. You're going, they give you a spot on the Kingsway kind of thing, or however that came to be, wherever you decided to start.
yep.
You start the project, everyone's happy, and then
Well, they put there was two contracts put out. There was an original contract put out, which we did not get because they added all kinds of curb work and sewer work in it. We don't do that. It was supposed to be a pure recycling job. It came in at 2.2 million. Um, uh, they canceled that job. It was specifically called a pilot project. The specifications to it were different because they were going to bring in another recycling company that didn't do what we do exactly. They did things differently, but they canceled that contract because it was they didn't want to spend 2.2 million for to start with. We were doing the same work for about $1 million, so that tells you everything. There was three contractors bid that job. Ironically, only one of them had equipment, and us.
you're
And
kidding.
we gave our prices out as a sub to the other contractors, and they didn't use us, even though we were cheaper. So, but anyway, it went to the local contractor. It got canceled. Then they changed the specifications because they knew we were coming, and they made it more having to meet asphalt plant mix. Well, you can't meet a virgin mix. You can't meet 100% new mix with everything being old. It's like taking the paneling off a wall and saying reuse all of the paneling over again. And you do your best to fill the nail holes, and you do it, but it's still used paneling. I mean, it's not brand new. So
Exactly.
we don't have that kind of control to exchange 100 billion stones per kilometer. So, and put new ones in. That's crazy. You need to make it new. So it became contentious, and they rewrote the spec to make it so it was very for us, and it's very obvious in the two contracts that you can see one's built has no rules, no nothing, no requirements, and the next one all of a sudden you have to make the plant mix, a virgin mix.
Yep.
So we did it anyway because it was a pilot project. So, we were going to go in and learn how to do what their problems were and overcome them and learn them. The contract was very specific. It said that the Kingsway limits were 1.2 kilometers and would not be changed under no circumstances. And when we get there and we go through everything, they change the limits to the Kingsway to 4.2 kilometers. So we didn't know what was in the other 3 kilometers. And because we didn't have time to test it, they were adamant that we were doing it. Anyway, that became a bone of contention, and then we found out things about the road that we didn't know after the fact, 6 months or a year later, which is fine, because it wouldn't have changed how we would have done things if they had left us alone to do it the way we knew how to do it. As far as getting to the job late, everybody forgot that 2020, 2021, 2022 were COVID years, and 2023 we were coming out of it. Does everybody realize that COVID literally destroyed companies, destroyed businesses? We were so late, we couldn't get parts for our equipment for 8 months.
Oh, I'm aware of that for sure. It just is.
Well,
It totally. All the supply chains were disrupted. Companies went under,
yeah.
and everything was just like hiccuping, trying to get back afterwards. It
Well,
took a long time.
Sudbury,
Yes.
Sudbury.com mentions we were 2 years late.
Yep.
They should have mentioned in there that COVID affected us because we told Tyler Clark COVID affected us, and he ignored it.
Yep.
So the problem that we have is that yes, we were 2 years late. Was it our fault? Yeah, it was our fault. We were 2 years late. What control did we have? We had no control over it because COVID caused such a disruption in everything that we had to do to get the other contracts going. Do you realize that our people had to be in separate rooms. Like you had to have an individual room for each person when you're
Yep.
out of town.
Crazy.
And let
I
me
know.
explain how that affected us. Try to find a room when all the hotels are booked solid because you can't have two people in a room.
It's insane. I know. It's almost impossible. And then you have the other side just not giving you any leeway in understanding these anomalies, even though they are very much aware of them
Well,
because they have to live by them as well.
well, they understood them, and they would have given everybody else all the leeways. They wouldn't give us a leeway.
Correct.
And the intention here was to make sure that we would not succeed. Okay. Anyway, many things happened. There were many threats to many by the engineering group there to many supporters of us, including our bonding company and others. Letters flying back and forth and so on and so on. We finally get there. And when we get there, we're told, nope, you're going to do all the King's Way. And we went, but we didn't test. We don't know what's there on the rest of it. We know what's at the beginning, but we don't know the rest. Well, you're doing it. You're going to do it. Okay, give us a change order. That's what the contract required. Nope, we're not giving you a change order. We're telling you you're going to do it.
Whoa.
That's how that job went.
And this
That's
is
how the
coming
job
from
went.
coming from official Sudbury sources. This isn't just some third party contractor or
This is
whatever.
the engineering group.
Wow.
No, this is the engineering group. We're dealing directly with the engineering group. Now, the director of engineering is no longer there, and his wife, who was in charge of our job, is no longer there. They were both terminated recently. The director of public works never showed up on the job once. We couldn't get him to respond with an email ever in 3 years.
Wow.
And that we have that on record. His common law wife responded to us, and she was writing us emails in July while we were doing the job at 10:30 at night, telling us what to do. And I mean, we're in bed sleeping at 10:30 at night. So that created a lot of dissension and a lot of problems for us. They shut us down with the 10:45 in the evening email the next morning. We're out getting ready to start. We're heating. We're doing our thing. And she shows up at 8:30 and shuts us down. She said, I sent you an email. You're not to work today, or you're officially shut down. Well, we never saw the email. So anyway, making a long story short, that's how things were run there. We got 8 deficiency letters. 2 of them were legitimate, which were material issues that were within the road site. The rest of them were her misinterpretation of the contract. And that'll all get proven as we go along, because there's experts that can read the contract that will make sure that that the wording is correct. Did we fail some of the tests? Is what everybody said. So the report that was done by the city hastily and then released publicly, which they never release those reports, they have to be FOI'd. But this report ended up on their website. And the first one that was put out August 30th, 2023, was incorrect and was missing appendices and things that they talked about. But then when you go to look for that appendix, it wasn't there. So that was pointed out to them. So they gingerly, in over a 3-week period, put a new report out and substituted it for the old report without saying a word and put the appendix in. But they removed other appendices that were originally in the first one. That's how they ran this professionally engineered report.
Ouch!
And in the report,
but what gets somebody faced for doing something like that? To me, that sounds illegal. Just to me, is there any repercussions for doing that?
It's unprofessional. It's unbecoming. I mean, you're a professional engineer signing this thing, and you're going to go change it, maintain the same dates, all the same wording, but take it from a 192-page report to a 207-page report, and not say it's revised on the cover. Nothing. Just try to pass it off as the same report. Just ridiculous. And that report had 13 pictures in it. It was one picture with 13 different station numbers on it, representing 13 different areas of the job.
One picture used for 13 different purposes.
Yeah. saying deficiency, deficiency, deficiency. And then there was many others. I mean, we had an engineer pull engineering, two of them review it, and they wrote a 26-page report saying it's just not believable that they did things incorrectly. They mention things in one area but don't show the proof in another area, or they did the bad pictures. For example, they were measuring the smoothness of the road. Well, let me ask you something. When you land with an airplane on an airport runway is about 65 meters wide, 60 meters wide.
Uh-huh.
So, and it is about 3 kilometers long. So when you're measuring smoothness on an airport runway, I'm using a runway because I want people to visualize this. When a plane lands, it lands on the 3 kilometer long section, right? It doesn't land across 180 or 60 meter wide part, does it?
No.
Because that's how they were measuring our smoothness. They were measuring it across the road instead of lengthwise.
Which is not the way we drive, and that's why you just
It's not how
wouldn't
you
measure
land a
it.
plane either.
Exactly. No. Obviously.
So they were measuring the smoothness over a 4 meter width instead of over a 1 kilometer length, which is just insane. And then they said we were at a tolerance, and I just shaking my head when I saw it. And then they were using loonies and quarters as measuring devices instead of a calibrated instrument, which they have.
Well, they are.
And they said, "Oh, look, they're saying that a loony and a toonie are consistent." No, they're not, because if you stack them face to face, they have one width. If you stack them tail to face, another width. Tail to tail, another width. If they're worn slightly, they have another width. So they're professional engineers using coins for calibrated measurements that they're going to fail us on.
Well, I mean, that's pretty innovative, if you ask me, to be able to use a quarter and a loonie. We're known to be one of the most innovative cities in Canada, is what I've heard from some of our representatives. So,
well, it was innovative. It was very innovative to measure smoothness across the road. That was innovative, and then using loonies and toonies as a measuring device was even more professionally motivated. And anyway, making a long story short, the WSP report was torn to pieces, and it is questionable whether or not the first 26 pages that were signed by WSP were the only pages that they stand behind, and the other 170 some odd pages were manipulated by others, which is what possibly happened, because they were able to change those. They weren't able to change the 26 pages. So I don't want to get too deep. I've already gotten too deeper than I should have into that. But the reality is there was no intent to it was never an intention to let us finish the job. Never. It was to let us start it. The small handful of engineering people, their intent was to destroy our company and stop us from finishing the job. Not treating it like a pilot project. Which it still is to this day. And ironically, I don't think the job is canceled yet by the city. It's still on their books. So
wow.
As of right now, there is a lawsuit. A lawsuit is $1 million. Accounted it's 4.5, and the reason why it's 4.5 is because that's what their estimate is. It would cost them to complete what we would do for $1 million. That's how insane this is.
Yeah,
and
for them, because originally they give you this whatever little bit of the Kingsway, then they add extra onto it, which you weren't even aware of, and you're going to do this for $1 million, and then you're like they shut you down, and you're like, hey, this is a contract, like this is business. When you're in business, a contract means something. You know what I mean? It's everything. Yeah. That's why we have contracts. We don't just shake hands. There's lawyers. There's all kinds of things involved.
That's correct.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then,
that's correct.
You stand behind that. They're supposed to stand behind that, and then you can't just manipulate things in the middle of that. you start being like Africa or some of these third world countries that do things like this. We're not a third world country. That's why we have laws. That's why we have contracts, you know?
That's right. Well, look, we're the first ones to admit that we can't make everything work perfectly because we can't account for the patchwork, the rubber crack filler that's on the road. There's all kinds of contaminants there that affect us. So we work on averages, and the averages are to hit your success points. Does that mean that we're going to be perfect every test? No. The key to it is long-term performance. Remember, when we were had our meeting out on the road, which was audio recording of it, they have a 2-year warranty on that road. We offered them a 5-year warranty on it and let us finish it, and they refused the 5-year warranty.
Taxpayers should be very upset at this when they hear this kind of stuff, because this is exactly what they're asking for. They're asking, where can we find savings? Where can we be more efficient with our money? And then you have bureaucrats acting like this on our dime, basically, and wasting money and going about things in the least efficient ways. We have this, what is this, pothole machine that we bought millions of dollars and it's just sitting there. And they're just, are we going to retire this thing? You know, it's like crazy.
Well, in our attempt and effort to compromise, like I said, we offered them a 5-year warranty, which they refused blatantly. They said, we don't want a 5-year warranty. I use the analogy of you go in and buy a used car that's 10 years old, and the dealer's so confident that the car is in good condition. He says, look, we're not going to give you the traditional 60-day warranty on this used car. We're going to give you a 2-year warranty on it because we believe it's going to perform 2 years, and we'll fix it and we'll take care of everything if something goes wrong with it. And you, as the new car buyer, turn around and tell the dealer, well, I don't want a 2-year warranty. I just want my 60-day warranty. Right?
See,
That's what they did to us.
But you as the buyer would want that. But if it's for someone else and you don't care, it's not your money.
Well,
and you know, like then you
correct.
might not care.
You're in the government. You don't have to say yes. You're in the government, you don't say yes. But
That's
if the
right.
taxpayers actually knew, there's an audio recording about this that was recorded, and they agreed to record it because they recorded this meeting as well because we told them we were recording. They said, good, we'll record it too. Good. And as it turns out, that was on the recording.
That's awesome. I'm glad it's.
So-
I'm a
so
fan
there's
of
a lot-
recording everything.
Well, I'm not. I didn't intend to do it, but in the end, it seemed like we would say one thing, and then 2 days later, it wasn't said that way, and it wasn't recorded that way, and I just had enough. I mean, I got accused of a lot of things there, not communicating with the upper management. Yeah. We communicated with the upper management. It was the people that were down below that blocked everything from going up because they didn't want upper management to see the emails that were flying back and forth. So look, I want to come back and finish the job. So here's what I will tell the taxpayers of the city of Sudbury. If by chance this does go to lawsuit, we have about $750,000, $800,000 in damages, which includes the work we did that we never got paid for, which you're still driving on and still performing. We did not get paid for that. And then we have costs of leaving the job and costs of coming back. It'll be about $800,000. We're going to take that out. And whatever money that's left over, we're going to come and recycle roads till we use that money up at the agreed price on the contract. And we will do that provided City Council and the engineering group agree to it. We're not looking to get rich off this lawsuit. This lawsuit has nothing to do with real money. The number one ask in the lawsuit, the number one claim, is that the city allows us to come and finish the contract. How many contractors do that?
Zero.
Most of them want their money and they want out and they want damages. We want to come and finish the contract. That's our number one claim. People say that that's insane. Why? Because we think we can do that work if we can get that monkey off our back. Well, apparently the city monkeys, the monkey there anymore, because we don't have anybody trying to stop the job. Perhaps maybe people now will say, let's try and get this right and see if it works and work with us. That's what happened in Durham. Durham said, okay, we wrote up the contract. By the way, we wrote the specifications for Durham with them. And it was a new hot in place recycling specification strictly geared to making successful hot in place recycling asphalt, not geared to plant mix. A new mix. Okay. So they worked with the specification, then they worked with the testing, and then they worked with the performance. And because of that, they applied for a Recycling Contract of the Year award, and they won it. They won it with us. And that should have been the city of Sudbury. Should have been the city of Sudbury.
There's so many, it's so ironic. There's so many things here that are so ironic. And I think someone needs to do a study on the difference between your dealings with Durham and your dealings with Sudbury, and just show the absolute difference of the outcomes too. Like how you went about it there, how you went about it here, and then the outcomes and what happened in both of them. Cause I think that would be a really great, cause they're polar opposites. And here, another ironic thing, here you have Sudbury, which is known as the pothole capital of the world, basically. The NASA astronauts came here because our roads are similar to the surface of the moon, basically. So the joke is they did come here because of the rock, and it was similar to the surface of the moon. But I always substitute the rock for our roads, and the potholes are like craters. You know what I mean? So, and we're known for that. And you'd think that look how great this could be, such a success story, just like our regreening project here. It used to be just black rock everywhere, and we regreened everything. It's come to life. We could have the same exact success story about our roads. But here we go, and this is how we're treating this. It's absolutely shameful. It's shameful. I feel ashamed that our city has treated you in this way. Someone who's innovative, an entrepreneur, someone who should have all the accolades for what you've done. You're an innovator. You're a disruptor. You're a game changer. And this is something that Sudbury needs. And I just feel really bad that everything's going down the way that it is. And who knows how long this is going. Sudbury's famous for keeping people tied up in court for years and years and years. So I hope that's not what happens here.
Well, that's what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah.
I would like to talk about a couple of different things regarding, you started with the weather, which was interesting. And you talked about deep freeze and then plus